Hello everyone. Long time no see. Welcome to A Sunny Book Nook. I'm in a different setup, new place, and that's actually part of why I haven't been filming and posting videos as much, or I haven't in the past, 4 months? 5 months? I honestly don't know at this point. But yeah, it's just because the lighting in this room, there's a huge tree blocking my room specifically. It's pretty terrible. But anyways, that's kind of on me for choosing this room. Anyways, I will today be talking about something that is already no longer relevant because of course. And that is the Goodreads Choice Awards. Because I've actually really been avoiding seeing any sort of content, viewing any sort of content that is about Goodreads Choice Awards, so I honestly don't really know what has been nominated. So I'm going to look through the nominations on my iPad, and I'll let you know what I think, because I'm sure it won't be good, you know? But also, before I get into that, I do want to say, free Palestine. It's free Palestine every fucking day. It's been that, will always be that until Palestine is free, you know? I've been posting on my Instagram stories and Instagram every day for the past 2 months about the genocide that's currently happening in Gaza. And one of my really good friends is from Gaza, and their family is stuck in the tiny areas of land that people are being condensed into right now in the Gaza Strip. Like, her family can hear at the Rafah border crossing near Egypt that they're like shooting anyone who's trying to cross. But people are trying to get out because obviously it's so terrible. Like, they're trying to crush over 1 million people into an airport-sized piece of land. It's horrendous, and 75 plus years of Israeli occupation, and of course this is what happens after people try to break free from Gaza and carry out a military action against their oppressor state on October 7th. So that is that. Also, my friend who is trying to get out of Gaza, along with many people who are, there is a fundraiser that I'm going to put on the screen right here that you should please donate to whatever you can. The US dollar, this fucking noise. I'm always battling the noises around me. Anyway, the US dollar, if you are from the US, and I think plenty of my audience is very strong. So, please, Venmo, PayPal. Anyways, whatever you can. Also, please follow BDS. That's, I think, the most important thing you can do right now. And also not give up hope, because Palestinians have not given up hope. The resistance is still strong. It's not our place to feel hopeless. But yes, following BDS is very important. Part of that is, as you can see on this graphic that a lot of people are misunderstanding, is that the specific targeted boycotts that BDS has been targeting, you're fucking kidding me. The noises are Zionist, because why are you interrupting me? The specific targeted boycotts that BDS has been going after has been targeting as Israeli collaborator companies that have been, the whole point of boycott, divest, sanction is that it's about putting pressure on and, any companies that benefit the Israeli economy so that we can denormalize interacting with Israel in that way that legitimizes it as a state when it's constantly trying to justify itself on a political sphere as a state that deserves to exist, when we know that it can only exist as it currently is through this like brutal repression of Palestinians, and that's just obviously morally reprehensible. So no. Basically, boycott, divest, sanctions is targeting AXA, HP, Carrefour, Israeli Fruits and Vegetables, SodaStream, and Puma. Maybe others, but those are some of the main ones. So please, Sabra too. Never, ever, ever purchase from those brands specifically, because their ties to Israel are ones that are long-lasting, strong, and have been targets of this international boycott for a very long time. The other boycotts that are happening, like surrounding Starbucks and McDonald's and Burger King, and I'm not remembering other ones, those are good too, but they're not the primary ones, so I just wanted to say that as well. Anyways, that is what I wanted to promote, I guess, before I get into anything. Also, if you do follow my Instagram or you have seen my post, there is a film that I really recommend people watching, which is on YouTube, called Gaza Fights Back. Gaza Fights for Freedom. Gaza Writes Back is the book edited by Dr. Is it Rafat? He was just martyred yesterday, the day that I am filming this. May he rest in peace. He was really important to the English-speaking literary world and to Gaza and to Palestine, and his whole family was targeted in an airstrike. Israel killed him. He was a national treasure. He was a cultural touchstone who wrote, published, and produced writing that was so important to so many people. Anyways, yeah, so Gaza Fights for Freedom, that is a documentary on YouTube that you should definitely watch. That follows the 2019 Great March of Return, which, you know, if you're asking like, oh, what about peaceful protests as opposed to violent incursions? Is that the word? I don't really know. Or like innocent Israeli civilians, like, you should watch this documentary, because the Great March of Return was a peaceful protest. It also covers a lot of the history of what has been happening. And yeah, so anyways, time to get into the Goodreads Choice Awards, which I don't really know shit about this year because I have intentionally sort of avoided that for this purpose, because I did want to sort of react to it, because I did this last year of reacting to it on camera, and I thought it was kind of fun. I actually might have been wearing this exact same sweater in last year's video of reacting to the Goodreads Choice Awards, so yeah, I mean, it'll be linked in the card, so if you haven't watched it, you can tell me. Okay, let's see what oh wait, did they win? Did they nominate and win awards already? Oh, okay. I see. Okay. They have a romantasy category now? Oh my god. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, it looks like the book that won the fiction was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which makes sense because a lot of people read and loved that book. I don't know if I want to read it. Probably not. I probably won't. I have it on my want to read list, but I should probably take it off because it's not. I don't necessarily really want to read it. But the other books that were nominated include Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. Don't know what that is, but I like the cover. The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer. Don't know what that is either. Anne Patchett, Tom Lake. Ellen Hilderbrand, The 5-Star Weekend. Jojo Moyes, Someone Else's Shoes. Alice Hoffman, The Invisible Hour. So, like, yeah. It seems like, you know, Ellen Hilderbrand, Jojo Moyes, Alice Hoffman, those seem like familiar names, so of course their books were nominated because they've just written popular books before. Goodreads is kind of a place where I'm a little bit unserious. One time someone commented, like pretty recently, someone commented, "You're fucking kidding me." Pretty recently someone commented on one of my reviews being like, "Okay, but what is this book about? The description doesn't say anything." Because my review was probably something like 4.5. I liked it. Or like, fun. And they were like, "But what is it about?" Like, honey, this is not a place where you're gonna find a whole summary of the text on my review. I mean, you know, power to the people who do that, and those people are important, and the book bloggers are important. But I'm just logging this shit, and it's really, for me, I guess. At least that's how I approach it. Also, on my currently reading tab on Goodreads, I just have like 50 books marked on there. Not because I'm actually currently reading all 50 of those books, it's because I started them. I marked them as reading, and then, as currently reading, and then I was like, I just stopped reading. I lost interest at some point. But I don't count them as like a DNF because I don't know whether I'll return to the book at some point. Who knows? I don't know, you know? It's hard for me to sort of determine, like, okay, now I'm not, except for books that I'm like, yeah, for sure, there's no way I'm gonna finish this, but a lot of the time, I don't even feel like it's necessary for me to bring those books up in videos or, you know, just because that often, because it's not really that relevant unless someone is talking about that specific book and I'm like, yeah, I read that book, but I started reading that book, but I didn't finish it. Anyways, so The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer is on there. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson is either. And I don't know what The Celebrants by Stephen Riley is, The Connellys of County Down by Tracy Lang is, and I don't know The Wellness by Nathan Hill or Blackouts by Justin Torres. I don't know what any of those books are. But I have heard of Shark Heart, A Love Story. I've heard about it or I've seen the cover, but I don't know, not really that interested. Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton. I've heard of it, and I think it's like a climate fiction heist novel. So, and it's kind of more highbrow literary from what I understand. Sunbeam's Jess, whom I love, read this book for her book club, and so I'm like, you know, I might read it. We'll see. And Evil Eye by Etaf Rum. Etaf Rum, I think I read her book, A Woman Is Not a Man. Yes, I read her book. Etaf Rum is a Palestinian author, actually. A Woman Is Not a Man is a really solid Palestinian novel about generations of women. Palestinian American novel, if you want to check it out. But yeah, Evil Eye, I don't really know what that's about. Let me check. Let me see what the description says. It's a striking exploration of the expectations of Palestinian American women, the meaning of a fulfilling life, the way our unresolved past affect our presence. Raising a conservative and emotionally volatile Palestinian family in Brooklyn, Yara thought she would finally feel free when she married a charming entrepreneur who took her to the suburbs. She's gotten to follow her dreams, completing an undergraduate degree in art and landing a good job at the local college. As a traditional wife, she also raises their 2 school-aged daughters, takes care of the house, and has dinner ready when her husband gets home. With her family balance with her professional ambitions, Yara knows her life is infinitely more rewarding than her own mother's, so why doesn't it feel like enough? After her dream of chaperoning a student trip to Europe evaporates and she responds to a colleague's racist provocation, Yara is put on probation at work and must attend mandatory counseling to keep her position. Her mother blames a family curse for the trouble she's facing, and while Yara doesn't really believe in old superstitions, she still finds herself growing increasingly uneasy with her mother's warning and the possibility of falling victim to the same mistakes. Shaken to the core by these indictments of her life, Yara finds her carefully constructed world beginning to implode. To save herself, Yara must reckon with the reality that the difficulties of the childhood she thought she left behind have very real and damaging implications, not just on her own future, but that of her daughters. Interesting. That seems very similar to sort of the themes and landscape and terrain, I suppose, of A Woman Is No Man. Honestly, I think that, like, Yellowface winning the Goodreads Book Awards for the best fiction is kind of similar to the Oscar nominations picking, like, the movie about a movie, because it's a book about the publishing industry and about, you know, Goodreads reviews and stuff, from what I can understand. Yeah, people eat that shit up. So, yeah. Anyways, books that I have heard of on this list is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray, because I just know of Paul Murray as an author's name. I don't know what The Bee Sting is about. And Family Meal by Brian Washington, because Brian Washington is another author that I'm familiar with, like, in name. But the one book I have read on the fiction Goodreads Choice Awards is Big Swiss by Jen Beagin, which is a great book. I mean, it's hilarious. Jen Beagin is a great writer. I think her writing is always funny, feminist, fabulous. It's always really kind of like light but incisive, I suppose, in the way that she describes people in a way that is both funny but not necessarily cynical. Big Swiss is just, you know, it follows this transcriber for a sex therapist in the town of Hudson Valley or something like that, New York or something. Basically, it's like a small town that's very brewery and goat cheese vibes, if that makes sense. And she gets really obsessed with this woman that she calls Big Swiss, because she's like a Swiss accent, I guess, as she's transcribing her sex therapy audio recordings. And oh my god, the guy that she works for is named Ohm. The book is so unserious, and it's all, like, everything that happens in it is so just hilarious and funny. Also, just so randomly, our main character, I think, is bisexual, but she talks about how she had an ex who was a stone butch, and that mention was, like, such a gag for me, personally, as as someone who, like, loves stone butches, you know? Like, whoa. Anyways, so that was a really great read in my opinion, and I'm considering getting a physical copy. I saw it at the bookstore the other day, and I'm like, it's such a nice book. Like, I really like the paperback edition, even. How do I remove something off my want to read list? That seems like a lot of work. You know what? Whatever. On the historical fiction, Wayward by Amelia Hart won. The thing is, I think I tried reading this and I just did, or I don't even remember, but I might have started like a second of it and been like, never mind. Oh, the book that I recognize on here, I mean, I recognize some authors like Jesmyn Ward and Isabel Allende, but the book that I recognize is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, because I was considering reading that. That book is like about, I don't really know what it was about, but it seems to be, it seems to be about Chicken Hill in Pennsylvania, and it's about Jewish and African American community relations in this town that has historically had both communities live in it. So the book on here that I did read that I really, really, really enjoyed, but also River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearler is on this list, and I think this book is about a slave plantation in Barbados and this young girl escaping. But the book that I read on this list that I loved was The Vaster Wilds by Lauren Groff, which follows this girl who escapes from a New England settlement during the colonial times where people were fucking starving, and, you know, it's like the 1600s or some shit. She is running away because she committed some sort of crime, and she's being chased through the woods and we just see her as her beliefs become confronted as she is trying to survive on her own in the wilderness through all the rain and the wind and the cold and finding food. And it's a survivalist story at the end of the day, but it's also about her moral journey of like, is what I did correct and wrong? Am I truly a bad girl? Am I like, according to the Christian strict sort of like Calvinist values that she was raised in and that her entire life has been encompassed by, and then the gendered violence that she has faced for her entire life, her short life, that, you know, and then of course the settler colonial reality of her situation of being the servant girl of these settler colonists and encountering natives of this land as she is running away from the settlers. And yeah, it was so interesting. I thought it was fascinating. I thought that the spirituality element and the religious element, the gender element, the flashbacks to her past as she is going through the survivalist sort of vibe situation was fascinating. And, you know, I typically am not someone who loves a survivalist narrative. I'm not really into like people trying to survive in the woods or whatever, but this story I really liked, and I think it's because I think Lauren Groff's writing is just phenomenal. And yeah, she did not let me down, because this book was excellent and thoroughly researched and both imaginative but also, you know, historically accurate, you know. Let's just take a look at the mystery thrillers. I haven't read any of these. I think I started reading Happiness Falls. Okay, the thing is that I loved Angie Kim's Miracle Creek. I loved it. But I think that Happiness Falls, the point of view that we were following of like this precocious sort of girl in college was not something I was really vibing with. I think the tone and the perspectives of Miracle Creek is what really hooked me years ago when I read it, but this one didn't really get to me. And Vera's Wong, Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q.C. Tonto. Oh, I actually DNF'd this book officially because I found it really, I don't know, I found the writing style kind of irritating and annoying. So let's go to the romance results, because I haven't really read any romances this year. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, see how I haven't read any of these. Okay, also because I think the romance genre is very interesting these days, if you know what I mean. Romantasy. Yeah, so interesting. Okay, so obviously Fourth Wing won, but it's just like, I kind of love how all of these books, can you see that? Like, all of these covers look the fucking same. At least to me, you know? Like, people make fun of how literary fiction books look very similar with, like, the blob colors a lot. Which, you know, whatever. I think it's fine because I think it sort of is a marketing thing. And I think this is also a marketing thing. But at the same time, it's like, the design is just so ugly to me. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe because I'm also not, there's no appeal for me to these books. I think, like, My Name is Madinez and Carrie Kinraid have done some reviews and vlogs of, like, Fourth Wing, Assistant to the Villain, or the Zodiac Academy, and stuff like that, which I think is enough for me to consume as opposed to actually reading these books, because no fucking way, dude. You know, if you read these, I guess I'm happy for you. I don't know. That's not for me. Now let's look at fantasy. Okay, it's a lot of like Lee Bardugo, Brandon Sanderson, Samantha Shannon, Travis Baldry, V.E. Schwab, Shannon Chakraborty. Like, it's just people we know, okay? And that's fine, I guess. Like, oh, Martha Wells is down here, Rushani Chokshi. But sometimes I'm like, y'all, no one wants to take a risk with their reading. But, you know, I did love Tress of the Emerald Sea. I thought it was so adorable and sweet and really imaginative, and the world building was just really beautiful in a way that, like, I didn't really necessarily expect from Sanderson, because it's like he has this very, I think Jess has talked about how Sanderson's like focus on war and like this male sort of approach to things is really not appealing to her, and like I really see that. But I think Trust of the Emerald Sea and the way that these characters are these adolescents who are adolescents, you know, but the themes and the complexity of the narrative is pretty adult, and the animal nature of things, the seafaring aspect, like all of it is just, it's very heartwarming and it's tender in this way that is kind of similar to, I guess, like perhaps The Assassin's Apprentice by like Robin Hobb, which I read this year and I really liked. But yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed this book, and I'm, you know, it coming in second place doesn't surprise me because it's Brandon fucking Sanderson. But the Samantha Shannon book, is that the sequel to that dragon lesbian book? It looks, the cover design is the same, so I'm gonna presume so. Priory of the Orange Tree is a book that I'm like, should I read it? I don't know. Maybe? I have the book. I have the physical book, but it's like a thick-ass fantasy. You know, I feel that way about Dune as well. It's like, I bought those books when I was like kind of in my fantasy phase. I was reading a lot of like N.K. Jemisin and Brandon Sanderson and yeah, like stuff like that. But like Nadia Corfor and stuff. And then I was like, I guess I should get into some of the shit that everyone likes. Oh, because I was also reading a lot of like sapphic sort of fantasies as well. But it's like, should I read these things? I don't know. Maybe not. The other books on this list are just the last books on this list. Venko Coven by Sherry Demeline is interesting to me because I think it's by an indigenous author. I didn't know it was fantasy. Is it a short story collection? Oh no, wait, hold on. Lucky St. James, a millennial living with her cantankerous but loving grandmother Stella, is barely hanging on when she discovers she will be evicted from her tiny Toronto apartment. But then she gets into the world of witchcraft, which, you know, that seems really cool. So I do want to read Venko. Venko. That's what the title actually is. Also, Witch King by Martha Wells is a book I'm interested in for real, because Martha Wells is an author who wrote, you know, the Murderbot series, which is like very much sci-fi, and so starting fantasy, I guess I should read that. So those are on my want to read list. And yeah, so let's go into the science fiction fan part. Yeah, oh, this looks very interesting. Bridge by Lauren Rekis. I'm drawn in by this cover. Do we see that? I'm drawn in. Okay, it's a reality-bending new thriller and a grieving daughter's search for her mother. And so, she finds a device and it can open a door to other realities. Want to read. Books on here. We got Pierce Brown, of course. We got TJ Klune, who won, of course. We got Martha Wells, Murderbot, of course. Okay, The Land of Milk and Honey by C. Pam Jang was a book that I was interested in reading. I didn't know it was like sci-fi, I guess. Translation State by Anne Leckie is another book that I was interested in reading, but we'll see if that ever actually happens. I just feel like there's way too many books that have been published. Okay, I'm also interested in this, The Deep Sky by Yume Kitase. Seems to be kind of a space book. I used to be a space book girl, but less so now. I feel like because I read kind of a lot of them. But yeah, those are the books that are standing out to me on here. Not surprised that TJ Klune won. I feel like he's won many years in a row at this point. Like, guys, can we read something different? I know this is a popularity contest, but it's reflective of how you bitches are. Not me, I'm different. Stephen King won in the horror category, of course. Yeah, Monstrilio's on here. A lot of people like that. Our Share of Night, Mariana Enriquez is on here. And I know that in Roisin's book club, the Big Book Club, which I was a part of a few months ago, September, yeah, when we read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein, which is right behind me. The month right after was when she read Our Share of Night. I'm also interested in reading Natural Beauty because Kayla from Books and Lala really liked it. And I did read Rouge by Mona Awad because I fuck with Mona Awad a lot. You know, I didn't Bunny was a DNF, okay? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But All's Well That Ends Well? All's Well. Phenomenal book. I fucking loved it. 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl. Very good. Rouge, that was solid. It landed number 5 on the list. But like, okay, the numbers here is just sort of taking me out. Like, nearly 78,000 votes for a Stephen King book called Holly. And meanwhile, 5th place, we got Rouge by Mona Awad. Excellent, you know, pretty solid book. 17,000 votes. It's like such a fraction of that. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that there's like some translated fiction on here with the Mariana Enriquez and Monstrilio, I think, which is translated to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure. Wait, let's see. No, it's not. That's my bad. But a lot of people have read it and really liked it, so it seems like it's a debut. Literary horror debut about a boy who transforms into a monster. Okay, it's set in Mexico City, and it's told in 4 acts. Precise portrait of being a human. I don't really read that many books written by men, so maybe not, but a lot of people like it, so if I hear more good reviews, then who knows. Okay, the young adult SFF I don't really care about. Same with the YA, really, because I don't, you know, sometimes I dip into YA every now and then, but it's not really my thing, really. So, and then debut novel results. Sick. Okay, Wayward by Amelia Hart won, and also won the historical fiction one. Oh my gosh, The Bandit Queens ended up on here. I really liked that book. I thought it was really fun and really interesting and smart and sad, really. But, okay, for nonfiction, it looks like Matthew Desmond won. He was the guy who wrote Evicted, right? Is that true? Yeah, he did. Okay. So that makes sense, because that book is super popular. Oh, Monsters by Claire Dieterer ended up on here. That book? LOL. I'll talk about it at some point, because I have a huge wrap-up. I mean, maybe I should just film monthly wrap-up. I don't know. Let me know whether you think I should do wrap-ups month by month or like a huge wrap-up. I'll probably just end up doing a huge wrap-up and like maybe a wrap-up part 1, part 2. Maybe do a non-fiction wrap-up of the year, fiction wrap-up of the year. I'm still gonna figure it out. But okay. Cobalt Red is on here, and that's a book that I'm interested in reading because that's about the Congo and the mineral mining that happens there. Wait, there's this book that I've never seen. A Creative Act, A Way of Being. Oh, it's from a music producer. And it's about artists or whatever. Okay. But the second most voted upon book it's called Butts, a Backstory. It's basically talking about all of the, well, you know, I just don't care. So I think I started reading Doppelganger by Naomi Klein and then I stopped giving a fuck. Oh, on the memoirs and autobiography, of course the Britney Spears one won, because why wouldn't it? I didn't read that, and I'm not going to, because I'm not really a huge Britney Spears fan. But oh, Hijab Butch Blues is on here. That's a book I want to read. And also, They Called Us Exceptional. That's another book that I want to read, because those are sort of Asian American or diasporic nonfiction and or plus queer fiction. So queer nonfiction. Fiction? What was I saying? Nonfiction. Oh my god, not on the history and biography. There's an Elon Musk one? Okay, well, that's not my business. On the humor one, oh, strong female character ended up on here. I might have started reading that. Oh, Black Friend by Z-Way ended up on here. Anyways, that was me going through my back. Just something pulled in there. Oh god. That was me going through the nonfiction, all of the Goodreads Choice Awards. My back cracking again, and I hope you enjoyed that journey that you went on with me in terms of looking at what the people of Goodreads are reading and the popularity contest that happens there. That's pretty fun, you know? That's pretty cool to know what people are reading beyond just the TikTok viral books or whatever. I mean, that has its own worth as well, but the fact that we can see how, you know, Goodreads is a good metric of like what people actually are reading. Cool. Yeah, that's my opinions on things. Please don't be offended by anything that I said here, because if you are, I don't really care. But, you know, leave your comments down below about what you've thought about the Goodreads Choice Awards and whether you think I should, you know, make your case for any of these books if you really want to, I guess. Or if you've read any of them, what you think, whether they did deserve to win. Please donate to the Palestine Gaza Fund. Please. I will also have all that information linked down below. I hope you enjoyed this video after so long of me not filming. I have a couple videos that are just kind of like on deck in terms of I filmed them and then never like released them. But I recorded them many months ago at this point, like from the summer. My Patreon is kind of dead at this point, but I'm thinking about reviving it and posting those videos there instead. I may be doing a semi-monthly posting situation over there. Or maybe even like, I don't know, maybe like a podcast situation over there that's exclusive to the Patreon. Who knows? Anything could happen. Because, yeah, I mean, oh, also, I forgot to mention this, but me and my podcast co-host of the Lavender Menace, we did an episode about Palestine and what is happening and talking about all these different talking points that are coming up in the discourses surrounding this issue. And that's something that, okay, the audio quality is really bad, I'm gonna be honest, because we were doing an Instagram live and then I just sort of like recorded the Instagram live from my end via like my iPad. And so it's like my voice and then Renaissance, my co-host, they've been on the channel. You know them if you've been around. Their voice through my iPhone speaker. So yeah, basically it's not great, but also you can also watch it on Instagram Live. You know, that's another option. That's also the first or the top post on my Instagram page as well. And all of my social media and my personal Goodreads is always in the description, as you know, if you've been around. But if you haven't been around, you should subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, now this is finally actually all I have for you today. I'll see you in my next one, which is hopefully gonna be soon and not in a million fucking years. Okay, bye.